You're listening to Trek FM.
Welcome to From There to Here, Trek FM's 50th Anniversary Star Trek Rewatch. We're going through all 729 adventures in the Star Trek universe, movies, TV shows, from Enterprise to Star Trek Beyond. I'm Zach Moore, and I'm joined by...
Richard Marquez.
What's up, Richard? How's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm great, man. I'm looking forward to talking about an episode of Voyager and an episode of Deep Space Nine today. This is the first time I've talked about Voyager on From There to Here. So...
This will be interesting.
I haven't. I gotta be straight with you guys out there. I have not watched an episode of Voyager in years. Years. Because I'm just full disclosure here. Voyager, my least favorite of the Star Trek series, but you know.
Is that why you haven't watched it in years?
That's there's probably a correlation there. Now that you mention, I hadn't thought about it that way, Richard. But that's a great point. So that's where I'm coming at these Voyager episodes from. I just want to let you guys know. All right, so we know we're on the same page. So Richard, take us out.
Okay. Dreadnought. Voyager encounters Dreadnought, a Cardassian missile that B'Elanna Torres reprogrammed during her time in the Maquis. Even though lost in the Delta Quadrant, the missile still believes it is on a Maquis mission in the Alpha Quadrant, setting an intercept course with an inhabited world. What'd you think?
Well, I equate... See, Voyager comes across stuff from the Alpha Quadrant like a lot, from my memory, and it's similar to like the Superman comic books where Superman is always finding something from Krypton. It's like for something that you're supposed to like be separated from and have no connection to anymore. This stuff just keeps showing up, right? I don't know, like some stuff like, they run into the Ferengi from TNG's The Price. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool continuity. I like that. They run into Q, they run into the Borg. That stuff makes sense. But like for them to just invent, like what are the odds, right? That this random missile that B'Elanna and Chakotay made would end up in the Delta Quadrant with them. I just found that kind of a stretch. And like the whole point of the episode is just to have B'Elanna basically talk to herself because she gave the probe or the missile her voice, right?
Right. Yeah, and you would think that it would run out of fuel by then too, because they had to find deuterium and God knows what else they needed to find to redo their engines and everything. And funny enough, this missile just happens to fly out of nowhere. And it was like, okay, why is this thing here? So, yeah, it's definitely, it's very weird that, they run into all kinds of, I guess, stuff that happens in the Alpha Quadrant. I guess residual or decisions or something like that. In this case, a missile.
And they say, the caretaker array must have brought it here. I'm like, all right, that's the great excuse. They run into the Equinox down the road. It's another, big one from the Alpha Quadrant.
I love that the Equinox is there.
Yeah. Also, another thing that stuck out to me in this episode, is this the first time we see Voyager self-destruct?
Or attempt to? I think so.
Yeah. I think so. So, pretty easy for self-destruct. Now, all the other Enterprises and ships we've seen, you need 2 people, 3 people, multiple codes. Janeway says one code to the computer, and that's it. Kind of simple, right? You think you at least need 2 people to decide to blow up the ship, right?
Or maybe they need maybe it's because it was the flagship of the fleet and they needed 2 codes, or maybe they just
look
need
at that
one.
Fanboy justification. I like it, Richard. I like it. That's so like I'm not, like I said, I'm not that familiar with Voyager, but when that was her like destruct code, I was like, wow, that's pretty simple. Anybody could do that,
But then again, Chakotay was also a Maquis, and the commander did die in the beginning of the mission, or beginning of the whole entire series. His code must have vanished.
That's true. They didn't want to reassign a code to like Harry Kim, for example.
Who never gets promoted.
But although look, we know they weren't going to blow up the ship right in the middle of the second season, but it did lead to some nice moments here where the crew's evacuating and Janeway takes the con from Paris, and he says thanks for everything, and that was a nice moment between the two of them, because obviously she had taken him out of prison and given him back a commission, and that was a nice little moment there. And of course Tuvok staying with her because they have the longest running relationship of anyone on the crew. So that led to some nice moments. Although we knew it wasn't going to blow up, it was still, it got me in the feels. I like those moments there.
Yeah, it was a good. I mean, for the most part, it was good. It was a good. It wasn't a episode that really was like, oh gosh, I gotta watch Dreadnought sort of like episode. It was one of those ones that was like, again, it felt like a filler. I mean, it was directed by LeVar Burton, and you would think that it would be something grand, a grand episode.
He did Timeless, right? The 100th episode, and he was in it. So yeah, you think they'd save him for the the big ones?
Yeah, you would think so too. Like, it's a good episode. It's just something that I wouldn't watch over and over again.
Well, it also, I don't know if this is the start of this subplot, but I know it's a big piece of it. Is we have Tom kind of acting like a bad boy. He's showing up late to meetings, and you watch it and you're like, what is this all about? Why is Tom suddenly have an attitude? And it really just, it doesn't, in the context of this episode, it just feels really off. I mean, as we'll talk about as we keep watching Voyager here, there's more and more to that. But at first it just struck me as really odd. What did you think of Tom's behavior? I'm
actually glad you said that, because I have that right here in my notes about it. Yeah, I mean, it definitely. I mean, obviously they had to have had an idea about maybe a season finale or even create an arc or something like that, a really big story. Because I mean, what they were trying to find. Well, I mean, eventually we'll find out why he creates all this drama between him and Chakotay, and practically everyone else in the crew, and doesn't tell anyone. Well, until we get to another episode,
right?
But where it all comes ahead. But I mean, yeah, like it definitely was in place. I mean, they had to have. I'm thinking this could have been a filler and be like, oh, hey, let's do like 3 or 4 episodes before, and then keep on going and let it progress and actually let it explode in that episode that they want to do.
I give them a lot of credit for that, because I'm like I said, I'm on record. Voyager is my least favorite. I actually prefer the earlier seasons of Voyager to the later seasons, and I give them a lot of credit here for the continuity, because I feel like there's just more continuity here. Like they're thinking ahead, 3 or 4 episodes, and that's great. You don't expect that, and then they have the whole subplot of the Kazon informant. In this episode, we see just one little scene, but just to remind you that this subplot is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to Voyager there for the continuity. A series that gets a lot of flack for not having continuity. I give it flack for not having continuity. So, and then one last thing about this episode: love the Doctor, right? By far my favorite character on the show, and I love at the end. They're gonna blow up the ship, and everyone's gone except for Janeway, and he's like, Captain. He's like, oh, Doctor, I forgot about you. It's like, how flattering. It's classic Great. Doctor. He just, in any episode, he's the shining point to me. I love Robert Picardo as the Doctor.
Right, yeah, and I love him too. He's such a great character. He's always that great comic relief. So, I guess are we done with that one? We're going to the next one.
Yeah, let's move on over to the Gamma Quadrant. Well, I guess the Alpha Quadrant, right? But let's move on to Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, we got our foot in the door of the Gamma Quadrant. I think we're good enough. Yeah. So the next episode is Bar Association. FYI, on Netflix, it's actually Bar Associate for whatever reason.
and on Hulu, it's The Bar Association. So I don't know what these streaming services. Get your act together, guys. Do some spell check. But
I mean, going to Memory Alpha. I mean. Yeah, it's
don't you guys know about Memory Alpha? Come on.
Yeah. So, Bar Association. Quark's employees, led by Rom, form a union against Quark's unfair labor practices and promptly go on strike. So basically, the formation of a union.
Fascinating stuff here.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they show this in classes across the country. Quark does not come across very well here, but it's true to his character, right? I mean, people forget Quark is not a nice guy. Just because he does nice things every now and then, he's still a Ferengi, right?
Yeah.
So he's over the top. Right? I mean, it's so funny though in the opening of this episode, because Lita, she's like, why do I need to be the double table? No one's gambling. He's like, well, how can they gamble if you're not spinning the wheel? He's just so ridiculously over the top. I mean, he's chauvinist, he's greedy. It's just all these negative attributes, but it's funny. And Ram is trying to cure his earache, and he's like, oh, that's disgusting. He doesn't like his brother. He doesn't like his staff. So these Ferengi episodes, they have a bad reputation on Deep Space Nine. What do you think about these Ferengi episodes?
I actually enjoy the Ferengi episodes. Obviously DS9 has a lot of very heavy, very serious episodes, especially during the Klingon and during the Dominion War. And I absolutely love that there's like these episodes. They're kind of playful. They're the humor a part of it. But I mean, it's always good to have something like that thrown in there here and there. I mean, you don't want. I mean, obviously Star Trek is, for the most part, more of a serious, sci-fi, TV show. Whereas like adding all those like humorous episodes are just great. It just breaks it up and it makes them a little bit more fun. I mean, especially the baseball episodes in DS9.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a big baseball fan, so I love it when they do that as well. So yeah, you're right. They need some levity here. Yes, not every Ferengi episode is a home run, but this one's good. Hey, whenever you get to see Jeffrey Combs as Brunt is great.
Yes.
He is everywhere, right? So as we all know on this network, but so he's great. You can see Brunt again. I like that. I like this little because Worf is still new to Deep Space Nine, so he's still getting accustomed to living on the station, and him and Odo's dynamic has always been very interesting because Odo has the job that Worf used to have on the Enterprise, and of course Worf's quarters get broken into, and he complains to Odo. He's like, "This would never happen on the Enterprise," and then Odo gives him that great smile. It's always so like Odo has this creepy smile.
and then he all of a sudden has his list of offenses that happen on the Enterprise. It's like, were you waiting for this? It's like,
yes, it's like he was waiting for this moment to pull out this pad.
Yeah.
He's listing off every season of TNG, all these, he talks about I think when the Ferengi take over in Rascals, and then when Rasmussen, the time traveler, steals stuff, and it continuity win. Like, it could have just been made up stuff and made it even better. That I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that episode. He's right.
Well, then they would have had to go back and answer all those questions again, and then you'll have continuity problems all over the place.
but I mean, that's what Deep Space Nine is all about. I mean, it's just character conflict, and it makes sense. The Worf we know would not just fit in nice and easy to this different way of life on the space station. So, and speaking of Worf, when they O'Brien and Bashir, when everybody's on strike at Quark's, nobody's going in. They're playing the enter or pass game, watching people walk by Quark's bar, which is just hilarious. And then Worf goes in. He's like, "Oh, I thought he'd be a pass for sure."
And they try to stop him.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh wait, come back!"
No, don't do that. Aggressively pushing. Yeah, definitely boredom, and which that's funny because they mentioned actually O'Brien mentioned that he was bored on the Enterprise and he was always waiting for something to break, which was like always thinking of the O'Brien Must Suffer those comics that he's always bored in.
Chief O'Brien at Work, right?
There you go.
Yeah, I thought of the same thing. I was like, oh, this predicted this comic series that has come out. And if you guys haven't seen it, forgive me, I don't know who does it, but it's called Chief O'Brien at Work, I believe, and it's just Chief O'Brien in Transport Room 3, sitting at the console, standing, I should say, at the transporter console, and just all the hilarity that would ensue. Because if you think about it, like, Chief O'Brien, he's just down there all the time. And then I think one of my favorite ones is, "O'Brien, do you have him? Did you get him?" And he's like, "Wait, what? Who? Where?"
And I just looked it up. It's actually, it's Chief O'Brien at Work by John Adams. So,
thank you, John Adams. The second president of the United States is giving us some
Jon.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's the difference. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, that line reminded me of that as well. Yeah, because Worf and O'Brien, they often talk about their days on the Enterprise, and it's just funny to see O'Brien's attitude. She's like, "Oh yeah, it's great. Stuff's breaking all the time. I have stuff to do. I love it." So.
Yeah, when everything breaks down, he's overworked and everything, and then he starts complaining.
Yeah, there is that. So this episode really kind of delves into the economics of the 24th century, and whenever they do that, I don't think they should, because under closer examination, it all just kind of starts to fall apart. Because Quark and Sisko start talking about, hey, we have to settle this strike, and Sisko's like, well, we haven't charged you rent for all the energy you use and this and that, and we're like, well, rent? What? Like, it's very confusing, right?
Especially for a society that doesn't deal with money, he's a pretty good hustler.
Yeah. Exactly. I get that, the Federation or Starfleet, I guess, doesn't use money, but when you have other cultures that do, like, how do you even, like, interact and barter system? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, they seem to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of class in Starfleet Academy teaches you about economy. I'm sure.
Right. And this is a big character shift for Rom here. I mean, he quits the bar and he starts basically what he's doing for the rest of the series. He's a assistant, engineer on the night shift on the station, which is cool. I don't know if this is the first time we see that Bajoran uniform of the blue Bajoran uniform. We'd seen the tan and the red one up till now, but Rom has his, which is it's cool to see they have different divisions, much like Starfleet. And he quits the bar. So it's a whole new character, chapter of his character for Rom. And there's a little bit of hints of him and Lita, for the future. Obviously, she's still with Bashir, but go get him, Rom. Score him for the little guy, the underdog. But then for me, like that's like we were talking about earlier, the thing I enjoyed the most in this episode was Worf. And at the end, he decides that he's going to live on the Defiant by himself.
God.
Zach's like, you're going to be all alone out there. He's like, yes, I know.
Again, Worf has to be alone every time. Oh, and it's funny you mentioned it. This also was done by LeVar Burton. I wrote that down here too. Yep.
Interesting. He must have just been, I guess they blocked him off for a couple of weeks, right? And all right, do a Voyager, do a Deep Space Nine while you're here, LeVar. Go film Reading Rainbow. We'll see you when we do the next TNG movie. Thanks.
Rainbow. Yeah.
Well, cool. I think that's going to do it for our conversation on these two episodes today. Richard, if people want to find you on the internet, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at xransom and also on Facebook at the Babel Conference.
All right. And as for me, you can find me every Monday here on Trek FM as a co-host of Standard Orbit, our original series podcast. You can find me on Twitter personally at MoreOnZach. That's MoreOnZach. And I'm also the host of my own podcast, Always On Smallville, about that young Superman TV show. And we're on Twitter at Always Smallville with one S. Well, Richard and I will be back tomorrow talking about Death Wish and Life Signs from Star Trek Voyager. See you then.